You know what I think is pretty is if you was to hop in a time portal. Are you with me? Are you with me? And go back in time. You know, back when TV was a different color, back when Paul Bear Bryant was the winningest coach in Alabama, Roll Tide.
A time portal indeed. So today I spent some time listening to Hello, I'm Dolly by Dolly Parton. Came out in 1967, and it got me really curious about some other things that were going on around that time in the world. We were saying goodbye that year to Otis Redding. We were also saying goodbye to Woody Guthrie. People being born that year, Julia Roberts, Pamela Anderson, I think. Not long after that, Will Smith. A few years later, Dave Chappelle. And Vietnam War was really hot. And when folks were coming back home, they weren't coming back home to the same country if you weren't my complexion. And you weren't having the same experience in Vietnam over there if you weren't my complexion. And the childhood trauma and what they called shell shock at the time that came back home for people around my family have everything to do with how I'm even alive today. And so also the bombings that murdered 4 children in Birmingham, Alabama had just happened. The voting rights of the 1960s that our current administration has gutted were just put in place then. Some of our peers and people who raised me were just now having some of the first rights I've had my entire life, and they're trying to go back on those. But on that album, it's really interesting. She's singing about Gone with the Wind, love. What's that? She doesn't want to be somebody's handyman. Sounds like she's dealing with a fella she's having to raise. But y'all go check that album out. And I'm also thinking it'd be a really cool assignment. Like, where were your people in 1967? Where were they living? How were they surviving? What were they going through? Who do you have to go to get the oral tradition of what was happening? And make sure when you're going back and looking, check dates and stuff, because you can get dates wrong. I can get dates wrong, and it lands you in a different place when you don't get the dates right. But 1967, the mama was being raised in Argo, Springville, Alabama, alongside children who were integrating, but they couldn't use the same water fountain my mama could use. They couldn't use the same restroom my mama could use. And if you don't have my complexion in America, you're having a different experience, because I am white under the color of law. And the people who were also being raised around Dolly Parton and around me often get erasure from the day they're born, and their ancestors have been going through it too. But that album comes out in a time where a lot is hot, kind of like it is now again. I know many of us are really confused on we're having to be here again, but I'm also grateful to people like Dolly Parton, who took the best of what she had to work with from her people and brought it forward. That's what I want to do with my work from my mama and my mama is build a world that includes more people. Because I was included. I was included by people who didn't have the same rights when they were a kid, or just got the same rights, but they were not born with them. They couldn't sit at the same lunch counter my mama and my mama could in Birmingham. Let's go back. This is a good opportunity to check out that album and see what comes up. It might give you something you can ask your mother or your grandmother about. Like what were you doing when Hello, I'm Dolly came out? Dolly Parton has already made so much room for people. Let's step in with her, with our Appalachian, all y'all, and do something different and lasting for Appalachian children and children all over America and all over the world. We do that by learning about and celebrating women who raised us all.